setting outcomes and goals. What's important about setting a goal? What's important about having a North Star? What's important about knowing exactly where your focus is going? Well, it turns out that the human mind can actually only hold one thought at a time, which means you can't hold two conflicting thoughts or even two thoughts of desire at the same time. You can only hold one thought at a time. So what does this mean, or what does this have to do with actually setting a goal? When you give your mind an order, or you give it a point of focus, or you give it something to concentrate on, what happens is that your mind will start to create a laser. It begins to search through questions. It starts to provide answers. It starts to weed out everything that has nothing to do except for that point of focus, that single thing that you're actually focused on. So why is this super important? Why is it important to have a goal? Or if the word goal is too much for you to handle, you could use the words like outcome. What is my outcome? In any situation, in any event, in any conversation, you can constantly ask yourself, what is my outcome? What is my objective? What is it that I want to achieve? The great thing about setting an outcome is not linear. You might have to backtrack, you might get detoured, something might go wrong, but the overall outcome may not necessarily change. In fact, the outcome almost doesn't change. Just because you have a setback, you have an obstacle, you have something that happens, you don't have to crush your dreams for getting the outcome, for getting to that specific destination. That's why it's important to know what your outcome is and know why it's important. Everyone has an outcome, whether it's just to get by during the day, whether it's what to have for lunch, whether it's to simply get by for the week or the month or the year, or survive until the next paycheck. But usually these outcomes that people have aren't that compelling. What I'm asking is that you have a compelling outcome. Now, by having a compelling outcome, you'll have something much deeper, much richer, much more gratifying, much more pulling, something that will pull you out of bed in the morning, something that will cause you to rise up with full of energy, or full of purpose, or full of determination, something that will pull you into your dream, pull you into your vision, and pull you through moments of boredom, moments of tiredness, moments of angst. And that's why having a compelling reason as to why these outcomes are important to you. What does this really mean? What do you want it to mean? Are you doing it for your family? Are you doing it for yourself? Or do you want to test the limits of what you think you're capable of? Do you want to provide for someone larger than yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your children, for your community, for your country? What is it that you want to do, and why do you want to do it? This is why goal setting is so important, because you'll always have a point of focus. You'll know what you need to do. Even if you don't know what you need to do immediately, but you have an outcome, you have a bigger picture as to what it is that you want to do. As you're doing these things, as you're going about your day, and you're focused on this single goal, on this single purpose, on this single outcome, you will begin to find clues. You'll begin to see different things around you that may potentially lead you forward and bring you closer to that outcome. The reason why it's important, it's extremely important to wake up every single day and focus on your goals, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Spend 5 minutes in the morning rehearsing your goals, or 5 minutes before you go to bed rehearsing your goals and appreciating the little things that you've experienced throughout the day in pursuit of this goal or in pursuit of this outcome. When you do this, you begin to feel more energy, you begin to feel a little more sense of fulfillment toward the actions that you're taking in order to achieve this outcome. Figuring out ways that you can bring you closer. Your brain will start to give you, your mind rather, will start to give you ideas. It'll start pulling reference points from your experiences, or maybe something that you've read, or maybe something that you've come across maybe throughout the day, or maybe something in your past. And what this will do is it will give you tools and give you reference points, and it will give you resources that you can actually rely on, or at least test out to see how much further it'll bring you along. You might ask, Kendall, I have a goal, I know what I want to do, I know why I want to do it, I have a compelling reason. I've sit down and I've written out the exact reason as to why it's important and why I want to do these things, and the way I will feel when I'm actually accomplish this. If you see my notebooks, I've written down what my outcome is and why do I want to achieve it. I didn't write down what I was going to do. I simply wrote down what it is I wanted to do and a compelling reason as to why I wanted to do it. This will leave me flexible enough to try something and see if I can make progress, or see something that will bring me progress toward it. If it works, I'll keep doing it. If it doesn't work, I'm clear on my purpose, I know why I want to do it, I can change my approach until I find something that's bringing me closer. And I'll keep doing that until it stops working. Then I'll try something else. Then I'll try something else. Then I'll try something else. But the idea is to get something and give 110%, as cliche as that sounds, until I know for sure either A, it's taking me back, which in that point I would immediately want to change my course of action, not necessarily the strategy. Maybe you might have the right strategy, but you're not using the right procedure, which is something I have recently encountered. The strategies were fine, but my procedure, my execution of these strategies were not sound. Therefore, you may not be getting the results that you want simply because you're not watching closely enough. Now, granted, everybody has a different method for making sure that they find a way to make sure that they are procedurally walking in accord or taking the right actions to get the desired result. If you're finding a path, you can find paths for strategies in books, you can find them in documentaries, you can find them in biographies, you can find them on YouTube, you can find them on the internet, you can find a mentor, someone who's already walked the path, someone who's already getting the results of the bigger outcome, of the ultimate outcome that you desire. Find someone who's getting that result and you model them. You find out what they're doing. You find out not just their actions, you find out their psychology, you find out their philosophy, and then you can find out their strategy. Success in any endeavor, depending on how you define success, because everybody has a different meaning for success, it's going to be 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. That means the what and the why and the psychology behind it, the ideas, the questions that you consistently ask yourself are going to be much more important than the strategy that you implement. The strategy that you implement can change, right? But having that compelling reason why is going to be super important. So you want to make sure that you drill that down daily. You can go on YouTube and use auto-suggestion tools, as was mentioned in The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. There are tons of ways. We live in an era now where we actually have access to these tools, and we can use these tools to our best advantage. And then ideally, we want to do that. When asking yourself questions of what it is that you want to be, do you want to write a best-selling novel? Do you want to become a parent? Do you want to become the president of your country? Give back to your community, progress in your career. Do you want to be a CEO? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to go to space? Super important that you know exactly what it is that you want to do and why it's important that this actually gets done. This is going to help to pull you forward. This is going to propel you like a magnet, and it's going to take you to another level so long as you trust in the process. Now, what I mean by trusting in the process is that you know exactly why it's important that you want to accomplish what it is that you want. And it has to be something that's greater than yourself, something that's larger than yourself. Even if it doesn't exist in the moment, you still want it to be larger than where you are now, so that it can actually carry you forward in the long run. I, in my life, have certainly had setbacks. I've made mistakes. I've done things wrong, and I've had to suffer from the consequences. I've also done things right and had to suffer from the consequences. But it wasn't necessarily moving forward that made me stronger. It was getting set back and learning the lessons from that. And when I've learned, the lesson actually comes in the recovery. As you're recovering, or at least as I'm recovering from these mistakes, that's where I began to learn the lesson. Now, if something were to happen or were to go wrong, and I didn't do anything, I didn't try to recover from it, then there would be no lesson learned. I would just be sitting back and not doing anything and not progressing and not moving forward toward my goals. You want to keep moving forward. You want to make continuous progress toward your goals. You always want to make progress over perfection. Perfection is always eluding us, but what we can always do is make progress. We can always find ways to make better videos, or find ways to communicate better, or find ways to maybe respond to certain situations better than we had in the past. It doesn't mean that we're going to be immune and that we're not going to do things wrong. There are times we're going to make the wrong choice. Even if we do everything right, sometimes things will still go wrong. We can do everything perfectly to a T, and something will still go wrong. It's always possible for that to happen. Just like you can do things wrong and things happen to work out right. No guaranteed formula for success, but there is a guaranteed formula for failure, and that is not trying, that is not making progress, that is not improving, that's not growing. But what we want to do is we want to improve, we want to make progress, we want to make sound plans, and we want to execute them consistently. We want to get our psychology right and make sure that we read the right books, making sure that we're listening to the right tapes and CDs and seminars and watching the right videos, and making sure that we're balancing our time with both work and play, and making sure that you're doing things that bring fulfillment and not just a passage of time. These are things that you want to make sure that you have sound plans on. Spending time with your family, recalling your day and all the accomplishments, maybe waking up in the morning and naming things that you're actually grateful for. What am I grateful for about today? What did I give? What made the difference in my life today? Those are little things that you can do at the end of your day, even if you may not necessarily have achieved the bigger goal, to feel like that you've made progress and to appreciate and show gratitude for the progress that you did make during that day. And once you spend time in the morning or in the evening doing that recall and asking, what did I give? What did I learn? What turned me on today? What am I passionate about today? What could I be happy about today? Even if things didn't go exactly as planned, if I just really ask myself, what could I be happy about today? What could I be excited about today? Who do I love and who loves me? These are questions that will help to prime you and help give you to a state of appreciation. This will help change your state, this will boost your confidence, and hopefully this will help you to live a better quality of life day by day. Once again, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and also don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, and also leave any comments on LinkedIn as well. And once again, just remember, the light at the end of the tunnel